than America's accountant, Mr. Dan Geltrude. Dan, thanks for coming on the show. All right. I mean, there might be something here. What are your thoughts about what the markets may or may not think if something comes out of this that is actually good?
Well, look, if a peace deal comes out of this, that's a great thing, because I think it's going to mean, for starters, lower energy prices, and we're going to have a steady exporting of grain. So these are really good things. But the markets and traders, they're unsure whether Zelensky is actually going to accept Trump's terms. Scott, no one is going to like these terms, right? Because it's going to have to be a compromise here, because Ukraine can't win this war. I mean, it's just going to go on forever, and the result is not going to be fair, because Zelensky's going to have some tough choices to make here, because he's the one who ultimately has to agree. Is he going to give up Crimea and just reward Putin for bad behavior, and also pass on any attempt to go into NATO? Those are tough terms to swallow. I mean, I don't know if he'll do it, Scott. I don't know. He says constitutionally he's not allowed to. We'll see if that changes. But Zelensky's leaning on the fact that he's not allowed to, via their constitution, to let some of that land go. This is a really, really unfortunate situation, Dan. This is the way I look at it. You know, once the war started, it was never going to be a good outcome. The only way that this could have been a good outcome is make sure it never got started in the first place, and we couldn't do that. I lived in, everybody knows I've got a British passport, lived in London for 16 years, so I have a pretty good idea about European Union and NATO and the likes, and I'll say, like I did last Friday, Ukraine's got a pretty bad reputation when it comes to being an above-board country around the world. I'd even argue that they're a democracy is not quite right either. He's jailed his political opponents. He's shut down media. It's now the state media. He's thrown church leaders in jail as well. So he's not that great of an actor either. But if this thing gets started, as soon as it gets started, then whatever the outcome is not going to be happy to anybody. So there's going to be a change of a border, which is not going to be, not a good thing. But we can't continue to lose 3,000 to 7,000 people a week as far as deaths go. And Russia's up to 1 million. And your point, and I'll hand it back to you, is this. Russia's got 2 to 3 million people that can throw at this problem, and Zelensky's only got 800,000. You're right. If just looking at a calendar, Russia's going to win. Yeah, it becomes, Scott, a war of attrition, and the numbers are the numbers. So it's an impossible situation for Ukraine. You have, on the other side of this, everybody wants peace. All these deaths have to end. But at the same time, are you going to reward an evil person like Putin by ceding anything to him? Well, there's no other way around this. In my view, only U.S. leadership can broker a peace deal. And again, no one will be happy. At the same time, we cannot continue funding these endless wars with no clear end game, Scott. I mean, we're putting resources and money into this. Great. How do we stop it? And I don't know if there's another way. Well, I think we had a chance in the beginning, and I don't want to, hindsight's 20/20 always, but we could have said, the problem is that even the head of NATO back in 2022, when this all kicked off, said that it's going to be 25 years before Ukraine could be a part of NATO because their books are so dirty. All right, they needed to clean up everything in the country before, so that was going to be forever. And to Putin's point of view, and I think he's a ruthless dictator, I agree, and I don't like him, but it would be like the CCP being on our border, like would be taking over Mexico, and we share a border. That's what he didn't want to have happen. And so all we had to do back then was say, Ukraine's not going to be in NATO. That's all we had to do, and this thing wouldn't happen. But we couldn't say it, and now here we're at. Here's where we're at. So there's going to be a border change. There's going to be a lot of deaths. Unfortunately, he's going to be rewarded for his bad behavior. But at the same time, if this didn't get started, we wouldn't have to worry about it. But now it did get started, so this is the consequence. Right. We're stuck with this outcome, so I think everybody has to stay focused in on we got to get to a peaceful solution here, and it seems the only way to do it is that those borders are going to be revised, and hopefully Russia will stay in their lane. However, if the United States has weak leadership into the future, I think Ukraine could be vulnerable once again because, again, they sign a deal,
It's only worth the paper it's written on.
I agree. And I'll end on this one. I mean, what are we doing, funneling $350 billion? I just gave you the numbers. Russia's got all the men, and they're going to win by attrition. Why are we giving $350 billion with no payback coming back our way, $3 into this black hole where we're never going to see it again? I mean, that's a bad idea, too. I get you want to save some quote-unquote democracy, whether or not it's a democracy is another show we'll have. But we have to have some conditions. We have to have some clawback. And by the way, we've put in 3 times as much as Europe's put in. I mean, and they're the ones on the doorstep of the problem. What say you?
Yeah, absolutely. Listen, President Trump has said all along, Europe's got a lot more at stake than we do. So why are we all in, or why are we so much further into this than Europe? However, we got European leaders coming to the White House today. So let's hope they can all get on the same page and get a good outcome.
Yeah, I mean, and I think that I do believe in when he says that he just wants the killing to stop. You know, ceasefire is a ceasefire, but we just need to end this thing. Because, again, think about it, 3,000 to 7,000 people a week, and then Russia's, they've lost a generation of young men, 1 million young men to this whole thing. So it's a travesty all the way around. So, again, it needed to never happen in the first place, but now we have to deal with it, and this is the cleanup on aisle 6. So, Dan, you also had a little bit of a celebration over the weekend, I think, didn't you?
Yes, we did. My grandson had his first birthday, and let me tell you this. What is better than a cow guy theme?
There we go.
Scott, when you're going to have your first birthday, so you get the cow guy cake, all of that. Listen, I was all in. You could see there. Scott, I got my cowboy hat on. I got my Roy Rogers shirt. It was just great, and, he's adapting the, shall we say, cow guy way of life.
Yeah, he's got a full head of hair for that age, too. That's fantastic. Great stuff. Awesome to have that. That's great. I appreciate you coming on with that. Thank you very much, Dan. Tell him we all said happy birthday. Dan Geltrude coming to us from Nutley, New Jersey. He's America's accountant. All right.